They say money talks, but the truth? Real wealth whispers. Think about it. You don't hear it rumbling down the street in a brand new Lamborghini. You don't see it flashing with Rolex diamonds or loud designer labels. Real wealth moves quietly, almost invisibly, so quietly that sometimes even the person who has it doesn't realize it. That's the crazy part. You might already be getting rich without even knowing it. No confetti, no sudden "I made it" moment. Just quiet, steady shifts in your habits, your decisions, your mindset. And those shifts, when compounded, are louder than any flashy display of success. But let me ask you this, what if the very things you've been brushing off as normal, the little choices you make every day, are actually the signs that you're building wealth? Because the truth is, wealth isn't an event, it's a direction. Here's the image I want you to picture. It's Friday night, you get your paycheck. For a split second there's relief, like a deep exhale you didn't know you were holding. But then, that thought creeps in. Should I upgrade? Should I spend? Should I treat myself? Most people follow that impulse, they chase the upgrade. They let lifestyle creep nibble away at their future. But maybe, you don't. And that tiny moment, invisible to everyone else, is one of the first quiet signs that you're secretly getting rich, because wealth doesn't show up in how you spend, it shows up in how you resist. Let me tell you a story. Back when Warren Buffett was already a billionaire, he was still living in the same modest Omaha home he bought in 1958 for just $31,500. He could have had 10 mansions across the globe, jets, yachts, a castle if he wanted, but he didn't. When asked why, he just said, "It would drive me crazy to have 10 homes." That's the contrast. Most people chase more. Buffett chased less, and less gave him freedom. Now, here's why this matters to you. If you're starting to notice that you value freedom over flexing, that you're okay saying no to things that once tempted you, that's not boring. That's not missing out. That's wealth in its earliest form. But let's zoom in even more. Because wealth rarely announces itself with fireworks. It's more like growing taller as a kid. You don't see it happening in the mirror every day. Then one morning your jeans don't fit and boom, you realize you've changed. Money habits are the same way. You don't notice the small savings, the careful decisions, the restraint in moments of temptation. But one day, those choices have stacked so high, they've quietly built you a fortress. And here's the twist. While most people think they'll feel rich when it happens, the truth is, you feel exactly the same. Normal. That's the paradox of wealth. Imagine two people standing in line at McDonald's. One is counting coins from the cup holder of a 15-year-old car. The other is doing the exact same thing, but happens to be worth $109 billion. Sounds ridiculous, right? But that's Buffett again. He buys breakfast based on how the stock market is doing that day. 261 if it's down, 317 if it's up. Billionaire or not, he acts the same. See, wealth doesn't necessarily feel like fireworks, it feels like calm, like the ability to choose without stress. So here's where you might be missing the signs. You're waiting for some grand aha moment, some checkmark that says, "Now I'm rich." But in reality, the signs look like small, unremarkable choices that add up over time. Let me show you what I mean. Think about how you handle money today versus 5 years ago. Do you still splurge the moment you get paid? Or do you pause, calculate, maybe push that purchase to later, or skip it entirely? That pause? That's not hesitation, that's progress. That's wealth training your brain. Because money doesn't just grow in your account, it grows in your habits, long before it shows up in your net worth. And if you've started to notice those shifts, even just once in a while, you might already be getting rich in a way you can't feel yet. Now let's make this personal. Picture yourself walking past a shiny new phone release. Everyone's lining up. Ads are screaming. Your old phone still works though. It's not flashy, but it works. And instead of caving, you walk past. Feels boring, right? But here's the hidden truth. That moment is worth way more than the phone itself. Because you didn't just save $1,000, you saved yourself from a cycle. A cycle that traps millions of people in the hamster wheel of earn, spend, repeat. That quiet walk past the store, that's wealth, invisible but powerful. And here's the thing about these signs. They don't make you feel rich. They make you feel calm, maybe even ordinary. But underneath, they're building something extraordinary. Because here's the paradox. The people who look the richest often aren't. And the people who look ordinary, the ones who don't flex, who don't splurge, who don't chase every shiny thing, are often the ones quietly building empires. Let me share another picture. It's Saturday night. Your friends are going out, new club, new drinks, new bill that's going to sting tomorrow morning, and you're tempted. Of course you are. But then you think, do I even want this, or do I just want to say yes so I don't feel left out? So you stay in, you cook, you watch a movie, you wake up tomorrow with your wallet and your peace intact. That might feel like nothing, like a missed night out. But really, it's a win stacked on top of every other quiet win you've been collecting. That's how wealth feels. Not like a lottery ticket, like a collection of boring wins that compound into freedom. And freedom is the word we need to land on here. Because money, at its core, isn't about mansions or sports cars. It's about the ability to say no. No to the job you hate. No to the boss who drains you. No to the bills that used to crush you. The real signs that you're secretly getting rich aren't about what you've bought. They're about what you've walked away from. And here's the real kicker. Wealth builds silently in the background while you're living your life. It doesn't announce itself. It doesn't arrive with a parade. It grows in those invisible choices, delaying gratification, resisting temptation, stacking small habits. So if you don't feel rich yet, good. You're not supposed to. You're supposed to wake up one day, look around and realize that while everyone else was chasing the illusion of wealth, you were quietly building the real thing. So let's pull back the curtain, because wealth isn't loud, it's hidden. And it hides in places you'd never expect. If you've been missing the signs, that's normal. They're subtle. They don't come with applause. But once you spot them, you can't unsee them. Sign number 1. You're choosing value over image. It happens quietly. One day, you stop caring about logos. The thrill of flexing fades. You don't buy shoes because they're trending. You buy them because they'll last. It's the moment you realize, this car still runs. Why replace it just because someone else upgraded? That's not cheap, that's clarity. Because here's the contrast. While most people trade dollars for image, you're trading dollars for time, peace, and freedom. It doesn't feel rich, in fact it feels boring, but that boredom, that's wealth planting roots. Sign number 2, you save before you spend. This one is sneaky. Most people flip it, they spend first, save later, and then wonder why nothing's left. But you're doing it in reverse. Even if it's just 10%, 5%, or a handful of coins in a jar, you pay yourself first. And here's where the contrast kicks in. It doesn't matter if the amount feels small, because saving isn't about size, it's about sequence. You're training your brain to prioritize future you over present impulse. And that's a turning point most people never reach, but you did quietly without fanfare. Sign number 3. You feel calm when your paycheck hits. Remember when payday used to feel like oxygen, like you could finally breathe again? Now, it doesn't feel as urgent. The check comes in, and instead of racing to cover every hole, you breathe steady. That calm is a sign, because money has shifted from survival to strategy. Contrast that with most people. The second money lands, it flies right back out. Bills, subscriptions, nights out, impulse buys. But if you're feeling calm on payday, it means you've built enough margin to stop living check to check. It might not feel like wealth, but to anyone still drowning, it looks like oxygen. Sign number 4. You track what others ignore. This is where it gets subtle. You notice the $10 subscriptions, the interest rates, the fees tucked away in the fine print. And while most people shrug it off, it's just $10. You don't. You know that money leaks are like termites. Tiny, invisible, devastating over time, so you patch the leaks, you watch the flow. And here's the kicker. Wealth is not just about earning more. It's about protecting what you already have. If you're paying attention to the small things, you're already wealthier than the person making twice your income but ignoring their leaks. Sign number 5. You resist lifestyle creep. This is the silent killer of wealth. Every time income rises, spending rises with it. Bigger house, fancier car, shinier toys. But maybe you didn't play that game. Maybe you kept your old apartment for another year. Maybe you didn't rush to swap cars the moment your paycheck grew. And while everyone else inflated their expenses, you widened your gap between what you make and what you spend. That gap, that's wealth's engine. It's not glamorous. It feels like standing still while everyone else is upgrading. But give it a few years, and you'll be miles ahead while they're stuck in debt. Sign number 6. You see money as a tool, not a trophy. This is a mindset shift most people never reach. Money stops being about showing off. It stops being about proving something. It becomes utility, a hammer, a key, a lever. And here's the contrast. Tools don't control you. You control them. That's why Buffett could live in the same house for decades. Why he bought his first jet at 76. Why he mocks extravagance. He wasn't denying himself. He was free from needing the trophy. If you've started seeing money this way, less as decoration, more as design, you're not just saving cash, you're buying independence. Sign number 7. You're patient. This might be the biggest one of all, because patience with money is the ultimate superpower. Think of it like planting an orchard. Most people scatter seeds and walk away, frustrated when fruit doesn't grow overnight. You keep watering, you keep waiting. You understand compounding isn't instant, it's invisible at first. And here's the twist. Patience doesn't feel like wealth. It feels like nothing's happening, but that's the moment most people quit. And the few who don't, they wake up one day surrounded by trees. Now let's pause here. Do you see the pattern? None of these signs come with fireworks. They're almost disappointing in how ordinary they feel. Choosing value over image, saving first, feeling calm on payday, tracking the small stuff, resisting lifestyle creep, seeing money as a tool, practicing patience. None of it looks rich on the surface. But beneath the surface, that's exactly how wealth grows. Think about it like this. When you first start working out, you don't see muscle after one session. You barely notice after a week. But then, after months of quiet reps, you wake up stronger, leaner, unrecognizable. Wealth works the same way. And if these signs are showing up in your life even faintly, it means your money muscles are growing quietly, even if you can't see them yet. But here's the part most people miss. Wealth isn't just about numbers, it's about freedom. The freedom to say no, the freedom to wait, the freedom to live on your terms. And if you've spotted even one of these signs in your life, you're further ahead than you think. You're on the quiet path, the path where money whispers, compounding in the background, building you a life that loud spenders will never touch. Think back to where we started, that quiet moment on payday, the silence before the noise, that space where relief sits in your chest, right before temptation knocks at the door. That moment is everything, because wealth doesn't shout, it doesn't flash, it whispers in choices, in patience, in the tiny, almost forgettable moves you repeat day after day. And here's the truth most people miss. Getting rich rarely feels like getting rich. It feels ordinary, unremarkable. It's you saying no to an upgrade nobody would notice. It's you investing in the background while everyone else is chasing the spotlight. It's you building freedom so quietly that even you forget it's happening. But one day, without fanfare, you'll wake up and realize the freedom you dreamed about isn't a dream anymore. It's there, sitting across the table from you like an old friend. So if you don't feel rich yet, don't panic. Don't chase the drama. Trust the stillness. Because that's where real wealth grows. Remember, money isn't built in leaps, it's built in layers, in tiny steps that no one applauds. The boring habits are the ones that quietly change everything. So maybe, just maybe, you're already further along than you think. Maybe you're secretly getting rich right now. And if that thought brings you even the smallest bit of calm, hold on to it. Because this isn't just about money. It's about building a life that doesn't need permission to be free. If this journey spoke to you, stay close. We explore these hidden patterns every week. So subscribe, share this with someone who needs a little reminder today. And let's keep walking this path together. Because wealth is quiet, but when you learn to listen, it speaks volumes.